This is a 2007 Nissan Pathfinder. It came here on a tow truck, and the customer stated that the brakes in the rear were metal on metal. It needs more than brakes, though. Check this out. So with the vehicle up in the air, check this out. The whole hub has separated, and the only thing holding this wheel assembly onto the vehicle is the brake caliper. That's it. Here's a view from the underside. Okay, so the bolts that hold the caliper to the caliper bracket are 14 millimeter. If you're just doing a bearing, you don't got to take the caliper off the bracket. You could just take the whole bracket assembly off. But we're going to put new brakes on this one before we put it back together. I told her the wheel bearing is what's bad, but they want new brakes installed, so we're going to do it. I shouldn't have took the bottom bolt out first, huh? That right there is actually, I don't know if you guys can see that. That's one of the rollers from the wheel bearing. It was just laying up here on top of the control arm. And it's rusty, so what does that tell you? That it's been out of the wheel bearing for a while. It's not like it just happened on its way to the house here, or on their way to the shop. Okay. These bolts that secure the caliper bracket to the knuckle are 17 millimeter. If you get a socket with your bolt stuck in it or you're not stuck in it, just drop the socket real hard in the concrete. It'll usually flex it just enough to separate them. Well, kind of knew that was going to be a problem, huh? There's pieces of the wheel bearing. Holy moly. Wow. I'm not certain the axle is going to be any good, but we'll find out. So, that's not supposed to come apart like that. But it looks like our axle's okay. It just might be a little bit of a chore getting the rest of this, the other half of this hub assembly out of the steering knuckle here. So it looks like when the bearing went bad, everything kind of shifted. You can see that the parking brake shoe wore down to metal, was rubbing on the inside of the rotor. Look at that, you can see it's broken. And what do we got right there? That one's stuck in there. That's another roller from the wheel bearing. So she wasn't wrong when she said her brakes were metal on metal. It was the parking brakes that were metal on metal. So we're gonna pull these parking brakes off. You can see it rub through right there too. And see if we can get this hub out of here. Something is wrong with these pliers. What the shit? We will not be replacing these parking brake shoes. I get a lot of comments here. We're in Michigan, and there's no vehicle inspections. And every vehicle that's more than just a couple years old, your parking brake doesn't work anyway unless your vehicle's a manual transmission and you use it every day. The auto parts stores don't even stock parking brake stuff here in my area, even for the most common vehicles, because it's just not something that's ever replaced. You'll notice if you look through a lot of my videos, most of the vehicles, if we're doing a rear wheel bearing on something, we pull the brakes apart, all the stuff has already been removed. It's very common. You remove it, you don't reinstall it. People just don't want to spend the money. And I don't blame them, because I don't know the last time I used my parking brake. And that's what these are. These are parking brakes. These are not emergency brakes. They're not meant to be used in the event of emergency. They're used for parking. So that's a misconception. Okay, so with that out of the way, we got our 4 bolts from the back side. I don't know what size they are yet. We'll figure that out. We'll take those off and we'll work on getting this piece right here out of the knuckle. So there's no real good way to film the backside, but these four bolts are a 17 millimeter on the backside. There's so much corrosion on them, so much rust. I had to use a hammer to tap my socket on, but that's what size they are. Okay, we're gonna get that bearing out of there, but first we gotta let Penny out. She doesn't like the loud noise, do ya? Yeah, you don't like that air hammer, huh? Come on, let's go outside and chase the squirrel. Wanna get the squirrel? Penny, wanna get the squirrel? Go get it, go get it. Easier than expected. That came right out of there. I'd say she got a little warm in there, huh? That's another piece of the bearing. It's kind of hard to tell where the bearing ends and the axle begins. This almost looks like it might be, I don't know. I have to look at the new bearing. Okay, the area is all cleaned up. All the splines are cleaned off. I'm just going to put a little bit of just a touch of anti-seize on here. And we'll put just a little bit around the inside. Okay, the book says 177 foot-pounds. We'll run her in with the ratchet, save some time. as tempting as it is to keep clicking that thing 2 or 3 times, you're over tightening it if you do that. And I'm guilty of it. The old cotter pin was beat, so I grabbed a new cotter pin. We'll leave that pin so there's some room to move so it doesn't seize up. And I'm going to end this video here because I'm going to put new brakes on it, and now the customer has also added shocks, and I don't think you guys want to watch me do that. It's just 2 bolts top and bottom. So if you found this video helpful, I appreciate you. Give me a thumbs up. Check out my other content. Thank you for watching.